There are over 500,000 fonts in this world. Some of you may have heard of, and some you use even every single day. As a graphic designer, I love typography. I'm in love with type and fonts. And I was very curious to myself that how many fonts do we consume every single day? So I took upon a challenge on counting the number of fonts I consumed from the morning till right now. So it started with me checking my phone, the time and the emails, 3 fonts. Then I went to the bathroom, used the toiletries, packaging, toothbrush, 7 fonts. Then I went to the kitchen. Here I didn't find that many fonts because we Indians have a habit of throwing the packaging and keeping everything in dabas. But still, 5 fonts. Now I booked the cab to come here to reach the venue. Again, 3 fonts. And finally, while coming back here, I saw many billboards, signages, signals, and all that calculated 21 fonts. And in total, there were 39 fonts, and including those two, TEDxMithibaiCollege, that total of 41 fonts I saw from the morning to right now. Imagine a world without typography. Imagine a world without fonts. How crazy would that be? Imagine when you're sitting on a breakfast table having a cereal from this box and you don't know what's inside that. Well, some may argue that nowadays there are illustrations, there are pictorial to use and to show what's there inside a packaging. But imagine yourself in a situation where you have to pick up salt and pepper. The first thing you do is look at S and P. If you were to pick up a pair of earphones or headphones, the first thing you will do is look for L and R. We all depend on typography for every single design decision we take. Type plays a very important role in our life, and what kind of type is also equally that much important. Now, let me tell you 3 things that fonts are. Fonts save you time. Now how? You may say, let me give you an example. Let's say you're going for a meeting or you're going for your boss's wedding and you want to look amazing, but you have ran out of a face wash. You don't have any face wash at home, you have a wedding to attend, it's your boss's, you want to look your best. What you do is, you go run down to the nearest store from your house and try to find a face wash. These are the 3 options are there in front of you. Now how difficult it is to find the relevant face wash which you want to look perfect. You want a luxurious face wash because it's your boss's wedding. You have to look your best. Now in the same situation, if we just change one thing, and that is the font. Now quickly, how easy has this become? Your decision to buy something, to pick up something has become 10 times faster. Second, fonts keep you safe. Let's say you're driving down the road on a highway. These signages want you to look at them and want you to consider them. You're driving down the highway and you look at these signages. They are designed in such a way that you don't ignore them and you specifically look and follow them. Apart and in contrast of these adverts and these advertising which are there, which you may choose to ignore. So the fonts, the typefaces, the colors are specifically chosen for the signages on the roads so that you are well aware on what to do, what decision you have to take, where to go and how far you have to go. Now, there was a study in 1967 by some psychologists that what kind of typeface and how and what typeface will look legible on these billboards when the cars are so fast and so quick and they are about like 40 meters away from them. So, the result of this study was that typefaces which have upper and lower case tend to be more visible at a distance and at a high speed because of the silhouette of these typefaces have more contrast and more distinguishable. Let me give you an example of this. If you see this highway, there are 2 signages. One is an old one and one is a new one. The old one, back there you can see Mirzapur and Varanasi written in all caps. That's their old signage. But the new one is this one which they have put up recently, and they have Mirzapur, Varanasi, Kolkata, all of them written in upper and lower case. The first letter is in uppercase and the rest is in lowercase. Why? Because of visual contrast. Because the silhouette of that is very, very distinguishable. You literally have less than a second to look at the typeface and make a decision on the road. And this can be life-causing. Then, the last, fonts turn words into stories. I go to this cafe a lot in Bombay, and it has a huge bookshelf, a lot of books, more than 200 books. When I go to that, the only thing I see from the books are the spines. These spines define what's there in the story, what's there in the book. These spines have such a value, such a power to tell you what's there inside that book. Only with typography and a little bit of color, it has to justify itself, it has to sell you, it has to make things look interesting so that you pick up that book. It has, obviously many of times it has been, I've picked up a book only because looking at the spine. The spine has responsibility to, let's say if you want to read a fiction book, it should look like a fiction book. If you are in for a comical book, it should look like a comical book. If you want education, it should look like a book which will give you education. Just typography and color will make you have your decision. Now, as a graphic designer and a logo designer, I go to many places. I have a lot of meetings, I travel every single week. One question which people have asked me the most is this one. Anik, what is your favorite font? Apart from how much you charge for a logo, this is the second most asked question to me. And earlier I used to always reply with the correct answer, that what my favorite font is. But nowadays what I've tried to do is, I pause for a second and I look at them and I change the question towards them. Before I answer, you tell me, what is your favorite font? Of course, they are very happy and they gather all the information they have and they're like, oh Anik, I love Helvetica, I love Futura, I love Montserrat, I love Comic Sans, I love Gill Sans. All these are my favorite fonts. They're so happy that, oh my god, I know so much about fonts. He's going to be impressed. I am impressed. But then I tell them, you're wrong. These are not fonts. Helvetica is not a font. It's a typeface. Font will be Helvetica Neue 35 Light, Montserrat Bold 37, or Futura Italic Light. Those are fonts. So you know next time what to answer. Last year, about 2 years ago, I was in my second year of college and I fell in love with typography. That's the first time I was introduced to type. And we had an assignment. We were given an assignment to design our own font from scratch with our own hands. Yes, might sound easy, but it is tougher than it sounds. We were given a challenge to create our own typeface and the timeline was about 3 months. Rigorous practice of designing that typeface with hand on a piece of paper. There were hundreds and hundreds of sheets filled with letter O's, letter R, letter C, and we have to create our own style in that. And after successful 3 months, I designed my own typeface, which is this one you see right here. I haven't named it, but it's this one you see right here. After designing it, I put it into the Illustrator software and got it running. I know you must be thinking, Anik, there are better fonts out there in the world. And you're right. And frankly, I hate this right now after 2 years. That's because I'm not proud of what I created, but I'm proud of the process I went through. I'm proud of those 3 to 6 months I put in the work to understand type completely. I'm proud of creating a typeface from scratch which doesn't look pretty, but what I've learned out of it is very valuable. And I'm going to share with you guys 2 things I learned by making my own font from scratch. Number 1, letter E. One of my favorite letters. Very interesting thing about this letter E is that if you notice carefully, the horizontal bars, E has 3 horizontal bars and 1 vertical bar. The horizontal bars of E are not equal and will never be equal to its vertical bar, even though it's in the same font. And why is that, you ask? Because when you keep the horizontal bars equal to that vertical bar, it looks imbalanced. Our eyes will not take it. Our eyes will like, something's missing, something's wrong. That's why they are reduced in size and kept it with the vertical bar to make it visually balanced, to make it optically balanced. And this you can see in a lot of letters. like F, L, letters which have vertical bars and horizontal bars attached together. Another example, let me give you. Letter O, my least favorite letter. You know why? Letter O is not correct. It's wrong. It's mathematically wrong. It's incorrect. Why is that, you ask? So, I did an experiment. I took the letter O and I took the letter X and put them together and have them on the same baseline. Now to this, what you will see? Do you see the letter O appearing smaller than the letter X? The letter X looks slightly larger, slightly bigger, even though they're the same height. Now why is that happening? Again, it's our eyes. Our eyes hate typography, it hate maths. So that's why this is happening. So to solve that, typographers, type designers, practically and make it bigger, overshoot the letter O or any round letter more than its baseline to make it visually balanced, to make it like both of them appear as the same height. This is optical adjustments, and this is the power of overshooting which is used in typography. What was my objective with this talk? My objective was very clear. I want everyone listening to this and watching this to see and observe typography, to be curious that why is a certain thing a certain font? Why is this bold? What is the objective of making it bold? Why is this cursive? What audience is this targeting? Why is it purposely made this way? I want you all to understand that how our decisions are purely based on typography. And the best part is, we don't even realize it, because that's how creatively and smartly they have been designed. So that was my